All right, welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. We have now received the update for the 11 o'clock hour on Hurricane Dorian. So far, we have not seen any weakening or anything showing us a turn to the north. We have been looking at the data relentlessly tonight. Several models to look at, but right now, as we speak, Hurricane Dorian is still 180 mile an hour wind, so it dropped 5 miles per hour on the winds. Gusts are still nearing 200 miles per hour. We are at a 914 millibar pressure, so the pressure dropped 1 millibar as the wind speeds dropped as well. The other noticeable change in Hurricane Dorian right now is also that it is moving just a little bit faster at 6 miles per hour, still moving west. And that is the concern that a lot of us are sharing at this point, is that we continue to see this storm moving directly west. The last update that I saw on the radar to me did not show any indication of this turn beginning. It still looks like it is just slightly moving west southwest, barely. But what does this all mean today, guys? We've been watching this all day long, and on top of that, we've had solar storm after solar storm. We would get a break, and we had two G2 geomagnetic storms between yesterday and today. We thought we were over with the storms, and it dropped back down to a 4, and then we got a KP of 5. And we've had a G1 storm ever since. And Mari, if I'm not mistaken, could you verify that for me as well at SPACEWEATHER.com? So when people sit here and scratch their heads and try to figure out why this storm sustained the strength that it did,
we're still KP5.
So
levels.
Mari's confirming at SPACEWEATHER.com that we are still at a KP of 5, which still keeps us in storm levels. So for the past 2 days straight, we have been bombarded with cosmic rays, highly charged particles. They're just loading up the atmosphere right now. And this storm has maintained its strength all day long. You know, we were listening to the radio station here that's getting ready to hit Freeport, and they were talking about how this storm was supposed to be here by 7 p.m. Of course, the storm slowed down to about 5 miles per hour for a few updates, but has now picked up speed once again. Now, what does this mean? Does this mean that this storm, if it continues to pick up speed, will it take the northerly turn as expected? One would think that if this storm slowed down some more, that it would get the help it would need to go north with the Gulf Stream. One would think. But the concern now we're going to be watching for the rest of the night is going to be if this storm picks up any more speed ahead, as it is less than 140 miles away from the coast right now of Miami. So when we're talking about hurricane warnings or watches, and we hear about this turn north, well, here is where we got to see the turn real quick, and I'll go ahead and, oh, maybe I won't. I thought maybe I'd have a handy dandy arrow. I don't think I do. So what I was going to point out, right as this thing crosses through Freeport, at the very edge of this island here, we are supposed to see a turn north. So we're close. We're not that far away from where we're supposed to see, where a lot of the models are forecasting a turn to the north. And like I said, usually when a storm slows down, that indicates a directional change. And so it's a little concerning right now. Here we are sitting at 11:04 Eastern time, and we see the storm continue to move west at an increased speed of 6 miles per hour. So it dropped 1 millibar in pressure. It dropped 5 miles per hour in wind speed down to 180, and it increased its movement speed at 6 miles per hour heading west. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at some. I thought maybe we had a spaghetti model, but let's go ahead and check out GFS. I could. It's on there actually, so I'll do that here in a second. Things running very slowly at the website, as you can only imagine, as the GFS models and other models alike have this thing skirting the Florida coast. And this is by Wednesday, so they have this thing moving a lot. As far as I can go. This thing, one thing that concerns me on this track here, this is by Thursday. Charleston, South Carolina is doing their evacuations now, and I think it's a very wise thing because all the GFS models that I've looked at, the 12Z, the 18Z, the 0Z, all showing lots of rain in the Carolinas through Virginia, heavier amounts, and just really dodging Atlantic City and stays along the East Coast before shooting off into Nova Scotia, and a major snowstorm actually happens at the tail end of that. So that's what the thinking is right now. GFS is saying this track is going to prevail, that it's going to stall out right about here like it should and take that northerly turn, but it is going to scrape the edge. Now, the eye is not going to make landfall in Florida, according to this model. That is the latest on the update as far as where this storm is heading. Actually, I will check out Mike's weather page, Mari. Thank you for reminding me there. These are the latest models here. And as you guys can notice, there are a few lines that do make landfall a little bit further in, but those are very light lines. Not a lot of models are agreeing with that. In fact, according to most of these models right here, we are actually going to see these this turn in the storm happen probably within the next several hours, within the next 3 to 4 hours, according to these charts. A lot of these models are saying that this storm is going to be moving out to the north, and I know it's hard to see. I don't have the arrow I wanted to show you guys, but if you guys can follow what the radars are showing right now, again, I'm fearing that this storm was already supposed to turn north by the time where it's at right now. So, that's all right there, huh? Bear with me here, guys. Mari is looking me up with something here, and trust me. All right, thank you. That'll work. That's fine. Thank you, Mari. So right here is where they're expecting this storm to start turning up. All right, this is where these models agree. Let me show you what's happening right now. And another track, very, very realistic is what we're hoping for. And if that's the case, this model is also showing that this storm is further. Hold on, let me move this up. Just there we go. This storm is also in the stages of where it should be turning up as well. But that's not the model I wanted to show you either. This one. Here we go. So, if I'm not mistaken, this storm right here, as it makes landfall towards Freeport, this is where we should see the turn. According to these models that we're getting at 11 p.m., right about here. So we are almost at that point where we should start to see the direction of this storm according to some of these models. We are very close to where this turning point should be. So it'll be very interesting to watch this go through the 2 a.m. hour here on the East Coast. And I mean, at this point, just to see where we are actually going to watch this storm. Is it going to take the turn when it's supposed to?
It looks like to me on some of the models it's going to touch the coast slightly and then move up. If you look at the dust stream on Earth now.
Very possible.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Mari made a good suggestion that this storm is just basically going to kiss Florida on the outer edge of this storm before it does finally make. So it's gonna, and that's very well possible. I think with this storm moving up in speed and not turning to the north just yet, this will be a little bit closer call than we probably wanted. And still, we have to worry about storm surge. We have to worry about flooding. This will still cause flooding. It may not be so heavy on the rain side of this, but we will still see coastal flooding from the storm surge of this storm. I mean, folks, this is a major Cat 5 hurricane at winds of 180 miles per hour with gusts near 200. This is still a major storm, and I saw earlier before we went live and did this last update for the night that CBS News is reporting at least 44 deaths so far from this storm. So we will continue to watch overnight with Hurricane Dorian. And again, just to wrap up tonight, Hurricane Dorian has been moving at a slower pace, but as of recently, the latest update, we have it now traveling at 6 miles per hour to the west with 180 mile an hour winds, gusts near 200, a pressure of 914 millibars, and we will continue to have coverage on Hurricane Dorian. Don't go anywhere, folks.